chaos. We have Annie, Vi, and Talia all removed on red from Disguised, Gwen, Azir, and Pantheon. Pantheon remaining on that kind of permaban red side list. This does leave Varus up for Jake to lock in.
Oh, Rumble's been picked.
Yeah, Rumble was picked
Rumble was picked in game 1, yeah.
Yeah, understandable. Renekton is actually quite good here too, so they can go towards it, and I actually love Castle and Photon's Renekton picks, so I think that would be an understandable early pickup. I say that, but I feel like both teams going to be able to like play Aurora as a flex, so that's something that both teams can kind of play around, and it's a good takeaway from Photon.
That's what I was going to say, is it is a bit of a takeaway, and because you are on red side, you have the ability to kind of like hide if it is a flex till later on in the draft, so you know, it could be potentially going up towards top lane. I do think both Castle and Photon are players who are pretty flexible and actually like experimenting with a lot of different styles of champions, which makes them a lot harder to predict in draft. But Ryze, I think, is actually a pretty nice answer. Allows you to play through sides. You're always going to kind of have that prio unless someone is really heavily dedicating their comp towards it. And if you are leaning against Aurora, you're so tanky that I think it's really difficult for Aurora to actually do much to you once you're just on like Roa marks.
Yeah, and honestly, thinking about it from Dignitas side in game 1, you could tell with the double TP, the TP on Tomo, that they are really cognizant of being able to get the swap off properly. Now, of course, Ziggs is gone. You're not going to be able to find that. But now that they picked up the Varus and they're trying to find a strong bot lane that they can get push on, it makes sense that they're going to be trying to get the setup. Last game, the setup around Drakes and around Grubs has been poor for Dignitas. So they need to be able to right that, because it seems like DSG is looking a lot stronger right now.
Honestly, would have really preferred if they just went Nico early on the side of Dig, because I feel like if you just go Varus Nico, you give yourself such a powerful bot lane.
Yeah.
You can play for poke, you can play for engage, like it's so flexible. It does pretty much guarantee you that no matter what your opponents are picking with Jhin, they can't really win the 2v2. So I would have liked them to kind of over-index more into that bot lane. When you're going to first pick Varus, set it up for success.
Yeah, especially since one of the things that I think Dig was missing in the first game were prio lanes to play around early, right? Like, that's where we saw the double crab coming in. That's where we saw some of those setups going wrong, like you mentioned. Raz, Poppy locked in now for DSG. Also a flex, can kind of go anywhere.
Yeah, flexible, it counters the J4 well. But what I want to say is one of my favorite things about Poppy is your ability to control approaches to things like Otacon, Baron, which we saw in that last game, also in the last series, were the pivotal moments for who was able to pick up the win. Like the Otacon throws, as much as we meme them, they are real, so having something like a Poppy to knock the enemy jungler away actually is like a pretty good tool for these teams.
I think one thing I don't really love here from DSG is it's like they go Aurora early, it's like, hey, it could be a flex, but when you're banning Renekton, I think you're showing that it's going mid lane pretty heavily, because like Renekton is a good matchup if you were going to play a top, right? It's something you'd want to play into, so I think they've kind of tipped their hand that it is going to be mid. And there's the Nico getting banned out that I was talking about. Like, I really feel like in the second game, you can easily find some sort of AD jungle to slot in for Sheiden, no problem. So they've lost the opportunity for Dig now to be able to actually have that power duo of Nico Varus.
Exactly, and just to bounce off your point, like, you pretty much has shown that it is just strictly a fake flex. Like, if you're going to be banning the Renekton, which we have seen already in the LTA North, that like the Aurora just destroys the Renekton within the lane. If you play it well enough. And I mean, understandable, they just want to be able to take it off the board, and Ambessa gets picked off pretty quickly, so they do want to send that up there. I do like the J4 a lot this game.
But we're red side, and we're blind picking both our solo laners.
Yeah.
Right? I just kind of am like, what's the point? Like, unless you have some really like magical final pick that is going to shock you, right? Poppy could theoretically be going jungle. You could be going for some sort of support to try to counter pick down on bot side. Now that Nico wasn't selected, so if they can get like a really heavily winning lane in that way, then I'm more okay with how DSG is drafting. But otherwise, I'm just so not a fan of going red side and being the ones blind picking both your solos.
Yeah.
It's like, the advantage of blue side is that you get this power pick of Varus. You can't afford to give them both the power pick of Varus and then double solo lane counter pick unless your fifth pick is going to boom their draft somehow. And I'm just kind of a little bit dubious that that's going to happen. So I really am not a fan of kind of how DSG has drafted, but we'll see. I mean, you could just go, I don't know. I guess you can go support counter pick and try to move Poppy into jungle. If it's not that, I just don't see how you're really getting anything out of red side.
Yeah, and just taking, now that we can see the full Dignitas composition, once again, J4 has pretty good angles if he's trying to play through like bot or mid, like, and also with Ryze as well, great setup. It looks like they can find setup on engages from any member, J4 ulti, the Rell engage. So it looks like it is going to actually be the Poppy support with the Sejuani going into the jungle.
So at the end of the day, we basically blinded like our support, both our solo lanes, got no counter picks. I just feel like the drafting was not good from DSG in this one.
When it started off exciting, because the Aurora is that flex pick that they could move around Poppy at the end. It's like the first three, it seemed like, okay, they're trying to like kind of get in Dig's head a little bit, but Dignitas, to your point, Raz, has a very solid composition for J4 to try and play through. Any of these lanes, you're happy if they get gold. So Sheiden's got his choices ahead of him. That's our thoughts, so casters, what do you think? Who do you think won this pick ban?
All right, thank you very much, Lounge. This pick ban, obviously, Azael does not find himself being a very big fan of what Disguised brought to the table, the way that they went about doing it here in this one. Interesting fact that I also heard from producers for the other side, apparently this is Sheiden's first ever career Jarvan game, which I'm always a little bit surprised if I hear that a player is playing his first ever game on Jarvan, because to me, Jarvan has always just been one of those, like, yeah, this guy's always popular in the jungle in pro play. Like, obviously, sometimes he'll be out of the meta. He won't be quite as strong, but it seems like whenever there's an opportunity to play Jarvan, somebody's playing Jarvan, and this is apparently the first time Sheiden's ever done that.
Yeah, I mean, Sheiden, we'll see how he does in this one. Honestly, going after the Jhin, like whenever you have a low mobility carry like that for AD carry, that's going to be the prime target. Both the solo laners that he's playing against are pretty mobile, so that can be kind of annoying for Jarvan because Aurora is really hard to land your stuff on, and it doesn't even really matter with your ultimate since she can just bounce all over the place. So he's primarily going to be looking towards Rahel, but they were looking towards Rahel in the last game, and they could not kill him. Even with multiple, dive members. So Rahel kept himself safe in last time. And I think he might be able to do that again.
Wow, look at this, man.
What do you got?
Just the early game already. Kobe, give me the damage rank.
That's you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Here we go. Wow, he landed that E on 2 people. For a first-time Jarvan, I mean, to lead the game in damage.
Right, everybody else, it's just a box full of donuts over here. And then Jarvan with 126, just feeling fantastic.
First time Jarvan as well, too. Flowers.
Yeah. First time Jarvan, first damage of the game, first attempt with the flag, and he hits it. Beautiful gameplay so far here from Sheiden. And honestly, I can't wait to see more.
Yeah,
exquisite.
I'm on the edge of my seat. In terms of the way I see the draft playing out, I do feel like it's still a winnable draft from DSG, even if they didn't get value from their counter picks or necessarily their flexes. Because when they decide to flex, I don't feel like they're flexing into terrible matchups. I think Ambessa is a champion that people are happy blinding. I know that Aurora is a champion that you can snowball with really well if you're against especially like a mid-range comp, because you can get tons of AoE damage off. So definitely still a winnable game for DSG, but I would give the slight edge to Dignitas just because I'm a big fan of Varus in this meta.
Do you think that edge is potentially like dulled or evened out by the fact that you've still got to recover from like the whooping that you got in game number 1? Like
the momentum of the whooping?
Yeah, exactly. Huhi jumps in there, tries to get a quick trade onto Tomo with the level 2 power spike for Disguise as they hit that one first, but not going to get anything more than just the cleanse. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning of lane phase last game, where when AD carries run like the barrier or something, they'll just use that to trade early. Kind of the same thing here. You just stick around the wave long enough to where if the guy hits level 2 and he charges you, whatever, pop the cleanse block.
And we have been looking a lot at this bottom lane. Since DSG got Rahel, it has kind of revitalized this team. They've looked so much better. So I do like that eXyu is pathing down towards that bottom lane. And as you say, without the cleanse already on Tomo, they can apply some pressure, even if it just results in like them missing CS down there for the enemy bottom lane. You can definitely set Rahel up for success in this game here on the Jhin. Huhi currently is in the 1v2, but honestly, his trade versus Isles there, he gave a decent amount of damage, and Rahel even comes to make it positive as well after coming back from warding up that tri-brush.
Yeah, but DSG is still going to be able to push that bot lane with impunity based on the way the junglers have pathed so far. They have the security of eXyu being in bot river. The fact that he doesn't see Sheiden will most likely make them know that Sheiden is going to be in top river, so no double crab this time for eXyu, and it's interesting that he got a little bit of extra vision before going for Scuttle Crab just to really make sure that Jarvan wasn't looping around for a gank. Yeah. But DSG playing well to their conditions right now.
And I mean, Sheiden's assignment early game in this one is kind of the opposite of what it was in game number 1, where he's on the Wukong, he wants to farm till 6, be impactful once he has his ulti. Jarvan is like the champion that comes to mind for me with like, as long as he's not level 1, he's ready to gank. But now the dive in the bottom side is going to be eXyu taking the early aggro here, ready to go and lead the charge for Disguised. It's a 1-for-1 trade though, as Rahel ends up falling to the ramping turret damage. But the kill goes over to Isles on Dignitas' side. Meanwhile, eXyu collects the money for Disguised. Now Castle in some danger as Sheiden does find his first gank of the game. Castle still looking to get himself back away underneath that turret. Sheiden does take one more shot and Castle survives.
Ooh, Castle really wanted to just walk that one out. He was close to not having to burn his flash, but it burns it just at the end there. So we're gonna have flashes burned on both sides. So at the beginning of this one, Huhi actually dashes Tomo over to the side there, and then Tomo does dodge the W from Rahel, but he still ends up getting caught by eXyu. But really, Rahel gets left behind under tower aggro there. And so Rahel also going down. But as we said, Tomo had to flash. So you have that as well as the minions dying to tower, and now it bouncing back for the swap.
Rahel didn't even get a Sys gold, though. It was actually just a Poppy Sejuani dive. I feel like if Rahel would have just flashed through the turret, it would have been successful, but he was likely not expecting the turret to swap to him the way that it did. Another gank, possibly. I think it's mainly Isles just babysitting Keine right here for a little bit in mid lane.
Yep, we just saw both mid laners take their first TPs a minute ago, make those first purchases. Refillable and tier there for Keine. Darkwings just picking up the amp tome and a refillable of his own. But then as soon as they got back to lane, Darkwings did land that full trade with the 2-fold hex into the weirding with the electrocute proc, and it just zaps you for 40% of your health.
Interesting choice there where they're still keeping Tomo solo versus an Ambessa. If they don't know how exactly close Castle is to level 6, like, they got to get Tomo out of there.
Yeah.
There's a no flash Varus versus an Ambessa that's about to get ultimate.
That's not a very fun situation for Varus.
The wave is pushing towards him, so he's just trying to like tough it out down there. He was trying to like farm from very far with just spamming Qs. But meanwhile, on this top side,
I mean, it's getting frozen on them, too, so it's not like they're getting anything by having Isles with the extra time up here. Photon would need to swap back, but they were hoping to break the freeze, and now Castle's level 6, so Tomo has to leave.
Yeah, I mean, right now, he just saw Sejuani in the pit, too, so he's thinking, is that Sejuani coming to dive me? I got to get out of here. It is really unsafe, so he does go for his recall, and they teleport Photon as the wave does crash into bottom.
Yeah, it's going to be fine for Photon as eXyu going all for the kill.
Yeah, it's not fine for Keine. He wanted to get away. He flashes over the wall, but eXyu already was in position to follow there, stacking up the passive on Sejuani. Arctic Assault into the Glacial Prison. Guaranteed Darkwings could jump in for the damage, and that's money in the pocket of the Disguised mid lane.
For sure. Very fast level 6 by eXyu there, and immediately getting the ultimate on cooldown, plus getting the kill and flash. Another good start to this game by DSG.
And again, in this one, DSG have a lot of pick potential across all of their champions, and they're playing into Dignitas carries that are very low mobility. As you see in the replay, when the flash was burned there, trying to get away from the Sejuani, and Sejuani still had ult too, so a couple of ults there from eXyu and Darkwings able to get that kill, but also the Ryze now no flash for a long time, and Tomo's is coming back up a bit sooner, but still having both a Ryze and a Varus, which are low mobility carries, versus a comp like this that has many pick tools, is pretty scary when you get your flashes burned.
Plus the conclusion of this lane swap just shows that not only is DSG ahead in experience, or in gold, they're ahead in levels too. Like Darkwings Castle, the highest levels in the game. eXyu as well, ahead of Sheiden in experience. So everyone pretty much across the board on DSG ahead of their counterpart in experience as well.
Very scary stuff for Dignitas, who are going to have to probably contest some neutral objectives here soon. We've got the Grubs spawning in about 10 seconds. It's another game without an early Drake take. Remember that in game number 1, the first Drake didn't fall till about 13.5 minutes into the game. We'll see if this one lasts that long as well. But Grubs are almost always the priority when Grubs spawn. They are very, very highly contested most of the time. And eXyu is going to go ahead and start this one off for Disguise as Rahel and Huhi are still trying to get the wave pushed out up here on the top side. side. Tomo firing off the piercing arrow. Dignitas, however, ready to come and try to fight for this. It is a 4v3 right now, favoring Dig. Huhi, nice use of the steadfast presence there, does not want to get engaged on by Isles, and Realm Warp takes the rest of Dignitas away. They make their escape as Disguised brings more men ready to reinforce. But because Dig had to commit to leaving with the Realm Warp, that means that total control over the topside river and total control over all 3 Grubs goes to Disguised.
Yeah, and so DSG, they do teleport castle over, so I would say Darkwings has to get bottom to collect the wave. I was kind of considering, oh, is he actually going to even teleport bottom to get there quicker? It depends on how many of those minions are dying to the tower right now. Maybe there is a cannon minion down there, so maybe he didn't lose quite that many, but he doesn't opt to teleport down, just walks down there to go get a few of them, and does miss some of that wave that was pushed in.
DSG had a lot of resources to spend there. I think Dignitas is a little bit lucky to not get caught by anything because they were in a guaranteed 5v4 once Castle teleports in. So the Grub take contest, I think, was overly ambitious. And now Tomo does have both summoners, but they might be looking for a dive.
Tomo with an early change of corruption to block Darkwings, but Darkwings tries to jump in for a bit more damage. As soon as he misses the weirding of the twofold hex, though, there's not really the opportunity to have enough damage to guarantee the opportunity, to guarantee a chance, an angle for the kill there. So Disguised now just going to turn their focus over to the Drake. It's not as late as it was in game number 1, and it is going to be the second neutral objective of this game, going Disguised's way. Just like that first game, they're controlling the neutrals in game 2.
Yeah, the side lanes have been very good for them as far as these swaps. You know, each time they got some extra experience, some extra little bit of minions. It's just the last one with the teleport up towards the top side of the map. Let's see, Darkwings here still has flash and his ulti.
Ooh, nice jump away from the rain of arrows there, going between worlds to make sure that he can zoom back to safety. So Darkwings, yeah, he'll lose the ulti, but honestly, you don't feel that bad about it, considering you're in the 1v2 down there. Up in the top side, the 1v1 continues between these two bruisers as they are still both working with components, moving towards those first completed items.
It does show, though, the Castle ended up losing a lot with that teleport to Rift Herald, to the Grubs, where his team was able to secure them, because he had a big lead. Now he's down 250 gold. I'd also say Darkwings a little bit on the defense, having to burn his ultimate there, and now just needing Huhi to stick around to protect against the dive. Small things are bringing Dignitas back into this game with the lane assumptions.
Yeah, the big thing is that there's not a big objective for another like 4 minutes. And so everybody will have plenty of time now, and it's just about who's going to be able to get a pick in the meantime. I guess ultimate here for Castle is going to be a nice cooldown advantage for Photon here. A lot of times you try and use... No, you use the Ambessa ultimate for the CC immunity during it. So he didn't want to get the little...
Just the buffer through the
Q there, I guess.
The sweet spot.
Firing off their ultimates left and right here.
But Photon's held on to his, so he didn't pop it to go for a full chase. So big advantage here for Photon with the extra ultimate.
But the nice part about that is, like you mentioned, Jatt, it's not like there's an objective to fight for another 3.5, 4 minutes or so. But the difference between this game and game number 1 is, remember that in game 1, the Herald and the Dragon, they were entirely desynced.
Yeah.
In this game, they're going to be spawning at roughly the same time. So again, it's one of those things where as soon as I notice that in a game, I'm always thinking about the opportunity, particularly for the team that's behind, to just handshake trading the objectives instead of going to contest them directly.
Absolutely, as long as they can have the setup to do that. So it's going to be about prepping the waves properly so that they're able to make that trade and not just let a team completely push you off of mid-wave and do as they please. But I'd say the Ryze is starting to get to work in the side lane. Aatrox is consistently getting some push onto the Ambessa. So Dig has the tools at the moment, I think, if they want to be able to pull off that trade in about 2.5 minutes.
Nice route there from Rahel. He'll follow it up with a little bit of damage, but again, we're mostly just fighting back and forth here for making sure that we still have a decent amount of positioning here in the mid lane. As that topside crab initially started off by eXyu. Sheiden does want to show up and contest for this one. He'll smite it down to steal it away, so just a little bit of extra resources in his pocket. Still about a 1,000 gold lead overall for Disguised as a team, with less than 90 seconds on the clock now until the turret plates fall. You can see a couple plates taken in the top lane by Dignitas. Back over in mid, the turrets still pretty much full HP on both of them, and bottom is 1 plate for 1 plate. So it's not like either team has really had a ton of control and a big major push so far in the early game.
Yeah, gold lead not that gigantic at the moment. But we'll see about the approach for the next Dragon. About a minute ahead of time, you want to send everybody back to get your control wards so you can have a good setup for it and you can have some good vision. especially since there are so many opportunities for people to get picked up when approaching it. And both mid laners don't have their teleports. The cooldowns are pretty low, but that's why they're in the bottom lane already over there.
Turret plating will fall soon.
Thank you, announcer. That's the guarantee. It's disappearing soon. Cash in while you can cash in. And Disguise is looking to cash in on Keine, but the Glacial Prison misses. Huhi tries to follow it up with a nice tackle, but he does not find the collision into the turret. Disguise throw a lot at him, but they ultimately miss. Now Dignitas wants to move in and see if they can get something back. Big Magnet Storm from Isles. Locks up all three of them. eXyu barely getting himself away as Darkwings flashes the Chains of Corruption. So despite the commit from both sides, nobody dies.
It's shocking to me that no one on DSG died after that Isles engage. I'd say the original engage from Keine, he dodged everything and made it so that DSG, what was close to being a sure thing, ended up not being a kill at all. But they don't get a full capitalization off that. They'll probably get the turret and equalize this gold.
Yeah, DSG spent 3 ultimates and 3 flashes, and they're the ones that are actually going to lose the tower.
Yeah.
So very big counter there from Dig. You know, eXyu used his ult, Darkwings used his ult, as well as Huhi in the attempted tower dive onto Keine. And then you only needed 1 ult to hit for Dig, and that was Isles. And he got a very good counter there with the Rell. So that results in tower taken here by Dignitas to chop down on that DSG gold lead.
Isles hanging around up here in the top side, just shadowing Photon in case there's any danger, any potential of an attempted dive. I mean, eXyu is in the area alongside Huhi, and there goes Castle. Engage immediately as Photon spreads his wings, trying to fight back. Gonna need to drain tank a lot here, but he flashes over the wall to make sure he doesn't get CC'd any longer. Nice counterattack from Sheiden. Castle's got to try to get away. Disguised, wanting to disengage as Darkwings arrives. Now the re-engage is there, and the feat of warfare is claimed. Disguised outmaneuvers them here in the scrap. They take the 1 kill. They take control over the top side, River 2.
Really tight fight there. It looked like DSG was all sitting at pretty low health bars. And thinking about the way their composition works, they feel quite burst heavy. So to win an extended fight like that is a bit surprising, but it's not over yet. This Rift Herald is going to be an extended fight.
Teleport's bringing everybody right on back in, but a nice slam into the wall. Photon is locked up, beat down, but he ain't dead just yet. Rahel falls first. Dignitas out fighting. They save Photon's life, and Disguise don't have enough left in the tank just yet. Castle wants to try to grab another one. Tomo's the only one he can possibly find, though, and now with the Realm Warp to cut off Darkwings' escape, it's Dignitas who come out on top and take the lead.
DSG had him in the first half, but Dignitas come back and they clap him while they're trying to kill the Rift Herald. So there wasn't an actual reward for DSG for winning the first half because the Rift Herald just resets right afterwards. So we're going back to the beginning of it here, and you saw the triple knock up there from Sheiden, but since Castle was able to flash out to that top side, and the key here is Jhin ultimate also coming over to lay down the cover fire, so they actually do get to get out, and they got their kill onto Rell. They then thought, oh, we won that team fight, right? So because enemy support is down, but Rahel here sectioned off from the rest of the team, so they didn't have the Jhin damage when they were going for their kill onto Photon. And look at that, Photon surviving. Rift Herald didn't even go for that last auto on him and like pulled the claw back.
The first fight started with them trying to kill Photon. And then the second fight started with them trying to kill Photon. They really wanted Photon dead, but he ends up having the last laugh with the double kill at the end of the fight.
Nicely done there. Nicely done for Dignitas. You know it's got to be a bit of a sigh of relief to know that this one's not also starting to slip away from you here at this Rift Herald point. We even mentioned in the previous game how the last time these two teams played, it was always around Rift Herald where the games would start to diverge in terms of greater gold leads. And even though the gold is still only not even 1,000 apart, it was a big swing from Disguised's control back towards Dignitas.
And DSG, like their composition is really built to kill low mobility carries. So they got to stick to the game plan, spend all of these resources on the Ryze, on the Varus, get those flashes burned, and get those low mobility carries killed. You know, with their Ambessa, with their Sejuani, with their ability to flank here, especially with the Aurora. But we're gonna get a reset back down to the other side of the map.
How do they do against high mobility bruisers?
Yeah,
because
Photon
currently
here.
Photon Sheiden are both pretty strong.
I mean, yeah, they were so close, but close does not cut it.
It doesn't.
Aatrox has a lot of healing, especially with Sundered Sky, and Photon was able to come back, and Photon ended up getting 2 kills in that fight. So it gets even harder with all that extra money. You know, he's got tenacity from Merc Treads. He has so much healing from his own kit, as well as the Sundered Sky. Bruiser really is the key there. So him and Sheiden really at the top of the charts.
It's a lot of jungler gold right there. First time for everything.
Yeah,
actually.
first time Jarvan top in the charts.
Yeah, and again, because of the last fight where Rahel was on the lower side of the Rift Herald, you know, Sheiden and Tomo just got to put so much pressure on him, and Tomo not only killed Rahel, but also burned his flash, so maybe it will be him looking for the enemy flashless AD carry.
Well, it's 1 minute on the clock until Otacon spawns. So for Dignitas, it's time for a big deep breath, right? You've stabilized a little bit. The game is certainly winnable from this position. You are no longer behind. You gotta play it cool around the Otacon.
I love Otacon.
You gotta be cool.
Yeah, get your blood pressure pumping.
The debuff is so invisibly powerful.
Yeah.
And it's not like people don't know that it exists at this point, but it just gets you no matter what you do. And then you're trying to fight through the Otacon. It'll shred you as you're going for an engage. And like, if they get debuffed and Darkwings lands a good engage, it's over. The whole fight will be over.
Well, it's also easy to feel like it's probably not affecting you as much as it is, and to trick yourself because you're thinking, oh, as long as I'm dodging most of his abilities, he's not putting stacks on me. But as long as you're in his pit, you're getting stacks if you're fighting him, right? Like, it is inevitable, and it creates just such a big opportunity for the other team to punish. As Dignitas will have control over this bottom side river here for now, but there is no Drake to fight over for the next 2 minutes or so still. Herald's going to be summoned up, disengaged there with the Keeper's Verdict. Huhi just launches Tomo all the way back, and now Disguise is going in, looking for a potential play here onto Keine, but they can't kill him just yet. Dignitas still trying to scramble and get everybody back away. Disguised, again, they're close, but close doesn't do good enough as Dignitas keeps everybody alive.
They did get the flash off of Keine and a big chunk on him, so let's see what the rewards are. A little bit of jungle camp takeaway here, take away Raptors, push on mid, but as you say, the Otacon takes a long time to kill, so it's not like just with some health leads they could go over and rush that thing down. There are teleports for the reset here for Keine, so Dignitas, they still can get everybody out there to contest, and it is just a small little win there for D.O.
This could be a bigger deal now as Castle jumps towards Isles, but because the tier 1 turret in the bottom lane for Dignitas still stands, it means it's much riskier for Disguise to try to go after these guys right now.
I mean, DSG really feels like, I mean, both teams actually feel like they're very interested in Otacon right now, which is a bit surprising to me with how close this game is, but I think Sheiden with his ultimate is going to be looking for an engage.
Goes in, finds his way onto eXyu here. The Sejuani's still very tanky. Isles and Sheiden continuing to push forward. They've got the entirety of Dignitas behind them. They're moving into the bottom side jungle here as Disguised do not want to overstay.
So what DSG want to do, because they used a lot of ultimates to get a flash, the cooldowns for your ultimates obviously come up way quicker. So they're trying to buy time here, and then they'll be in an advantageous point where Keine still won't have his flash. But if they can get their Aurora ultimate cooldown back, that thing is back. The Jhin ultimate is back now as well. Now they are ready to
reset. Just calm down. They're ready to reset and calm down before this fight happens. It's suicide for either team to start it at this moment because they just don't have enough push on any of these lanes.
I think the big play is to go for a pick on your Ryze, on that Ryze, so you can actually benefit from what you just spent everything before on. And so they are still going to stick around. Dragon here is up. That thing is a lot easier to take. It does not shred you, and so they can just burn this objective down and constantly look over at this Realm Warp for Ryze still being down, so he'll have to walk. That's why Castle is kind of taking the inner route here. Oh, he's going to teleport.
Yeah, there's a teleport coming in. Disguised has to make sure they're ready for this as Dignitas is going to move in as a 3-man unit, and immediately Tomo's already down. Dignitas makes a critical mistake. They wanted to go for the pincer attack, but the bait squad was not ready for the damage Disguise was bringing to the table. It's 2 free kills immediately. The Dragon picked up right after their first soul point. Tomo and Isles are still dead, and DSG are now going to dare their opponents to meet him at the Otacon.
That was the low mobility carry, not the high mobility bruiser, so they got the right target selection. I don't know if they can stop this Otacon.
No, I think it's for sure theirs for DSG.
Sheiden is on the other side of the map. There's no way to even try to contest it.
Yeah, and we're seeing the rewards here because The Ryze, with no Realm Warp, with no Flash, with no Teleport, just was completely cut off from the entire fight. Castle took a really good position through Tri-Brush, made sure there's no way over for the Ryze. So I was actually surprised that DSG then went with Photon's teleport in, and the 3-person group here at the top of Dragon, they just immediately get engaged on because they're look at this mini-map. The Ryze is so far away with no way of joining.
I mean, nice ultimate there by Castle to one-shot Tomo, but to your point, Kobe, it's an easy collapse to make because even if you miss the engage, you're not inting the fight away since there's not enough people there to fight back.
Yeah, and that's why we keep on pointing out the small things that lead up to these fights. The cooldown victories ahead of time are important. Ryze, no Flash, no Teleport, no Realm Warp. And so he's not dead, but he's not there, Flowers, so...
He might as well be dead.
Yeah.
He's having the exact same impact in the fight as if he was dead.
And then it's just really difficult to try and pincer in a team that has snap engage like this, because they'll just turn on this side of the fight that has only a few members. As you said, though, good job there. Castle with the Ambessa, go straight in. They got the burst damage, and now DSG.
Ooh,
well,
Rahel in a little bit of danger here. Popped his own cleanse, but then immediately the McHale's to guarantee that the follow-up Chains of Corruption did not spell doom for the disguised AD carry. So Huhi's purchased there on that support item, really big, really impactful right now, as we still only have 20 seconds left on the clock until Baron is finally going to spawn. Dignitas are moving around here. Isles using a Summoner Spellbook Ghost to guarantee that he can cut off the escape route of eXyu and Castle. Isles jumps in for the Magnet Storm, and Castle's going to take a bunch of damage here at the very onset of the fight. Now Isles down to about 20% on his own. Castle, very dangerous to try to go back in right now. The curtain call opens up, but it's a ton of damage onto the Aurora, and Darkwings falls. Disguised, overstaying in the top lane. Isles going around to lock him down. Now it's a kill plus 2 critical health bars, and Dig's going onto the Baron.
And eXyu,
they get it.
Look, eXyu's smite here, the charge is still on cooldown, so I think they should just get this.
There's no way that they don't get this Baron. It is as close to impossible as impossible can be.
That's huge. Dignitas
Baron, 25 minutes. Let's go.
I mean, the fight was just a long extension of the original mid play. DSG was spread all over the map, so they're pushed in mid lane, then they make this collapse on top lane, and Darkwings thinks, I'm going to teleport in to save these guys, and they make the peel to fight. But then 2 things happen. While Darkwings goes for this engage, he just dives into the middle of all of the Dig damage dealers so they can finish him off. Meanwhile, Sheiden just annihilates Huhi on the other side. So then it is a 3v5, a no flash Sejuani on 1/3 health, and a free Baron for Dignitas.
That is a massive swing for Dig, as they are now 3,000 gold ahead. And again, the timer for this is exactly where they need it to be. You've got 2 minutes and 15 seconds on your Baron, and now you've got Isles already dead. Disguised, nice pick there on the enemy support. This is exactly what you don't want to see, fellas. You get the Baron, and now you've lost a man, so for the next 25 seconds, you can't use all that tempo.
I mean, I guess Photon can still try and make some use of it, split pushing, but yeah, there's also no Varus ult. So no Rell, no Varus ultimate, you don't have a lot of threat. And then if you have no threat anywhere else, then Photon would just be sticking out like a sore thumb if you tried to apply any pressure and split push. And it just completely neutralizes a big timer here of the Baron buff. They got to wait for the respawn. They are teleporting back out, so they're still trying to keep up mid and bottom lane pushing here, but DSG are able to clear out several waves in the meantime.
And it is soul points, so DSG would love to be able to take this Drake, but you also have to question, if you have no waves, is it worth the risk? Like, they know that they are decently strong, but I don't think they're actually ahead in this team fight, and if you give away 5 kills, you'd actually lose control of the game. This would be a Drake I'd consider giving and trading for experience on a castle.
Well, Dignitas wants to go in, but they can only find an entry point onto eXyu, so Sejuani's going to lose her Arctic armor, but that's it. Only about, what, 10% HP shaved off there, but it does mean Dignitas maintains control over this bot side river. Drake spawning in 5 seconds. The Baron is still active on Dignitas for the next 45.
And they very well could just take the secondary tower on the top side of the map in exchange. That thing is very worthwhile. That is 700 gold for Castle and 25 gold for every other member of DSG. And so they do opt to get that concentrated gold for Ambessa.
Yeah, Huhi's gonna die though immediately. Sheiden is on a rampage, and Dignitas does not want to stop just yet. The Realm Warp brings Keine into the mix now too, as Darkwings has to try to escape going between worlds. Sheiden's gonna go in though. They lock up another one, and eXyu is not tanky enough to get out of there. Now Rahel under pressure as Isles continues the chase, and Disguised is just not looking good at this point. Dignitas continues their momentum.
One of the keys, Flowers, if you're gonna give up a dragon, you just give it up and you don't get close.
If you're gonna give something up, you better give it up.
You don't go.
Very
you don't
crucial
say,
thing.
You don't
It's a
say,
very
I'm gonna give
crucial
it
step.
up, and then you go stare at it.
This is, I really like, this is like Kobe is John Madden for League of Legends.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna give it up, don't go looking at it.
Yeah, you better leave it alone. If you're gonna leave something alone, leave it alone.
I know what he was thinking. He was thinking maybe I can slow him down. Because Castle was getting multiple turrets in the bot lane. He could not slow him down. I agree with your assessment.
Okay, so in the meantime, Castle got 2 towers.
Okay.
But there were some more chase down kills for Dignitas. So Dignitas here, these gold charts, look at them catching up there.
The 2 turrets, though, pretty good for Castle.
Yep. He is very strong on the Ambessa. Both of the top laners are now at their 3 fully completed item power spikes, so very strong on these guys. However, there's a lot of powerful defensive itemization for Dignitas in particular. Death's Dance on Aatrox combines really well with his healing. eXyu wanted to go in there for the Glacial Prison, but Tomo does a beautiful job sidestepping away from it. Now still pressure continues as the curtain call fires off. Darkwings, though. This Aurora has not been it for him. He has not found the efficacy in the fights, and now the Fed Ambessa's in the middle of everybody. He's not strong enough to outplay it just yet, or is he? Castle with the fancy feed, but he still falls to Photon as Sheiden's leading the charge for the rest of the team. A double kill over the wall as Photon brings the hammer down on him. Disguise try. They do end up at least getting the kill onto Keine, but they lose 3 of their own men for it.
Heroic effort there by Castle, but the original engage was quite flubbed, and Darkwings found himself in the middle of the entire team once again. So that's when the Aatrox and the Jarvan are really unleashed. They're a combined 10-0 in this game when they can actually get into these messy fights.
Yeah, let's take another look at it, because it's also Guardian Angel on Sheiden. So Jarvan gets to go wherever he wants, but the initiation in mid lane here, they're trying to make a move onto the low mobility carries, onto Tomo, onto Keine, and they just immediately get clapped there. Darkwings gets blown up. Then Castle tries to pull some fancy moves here, and then he's going to be able to ult to the other side onto the support. And he almost even like kind of found a route out there, but Photon also had flash, so he just flashes after him, takes him down.
Yeah, and then Sheiden, knowing Rahel has no flash, just presses R, and that's the one guy he can definitely do that to anytime he wants.
Yeah, it's really the 2 Bash brothers on the front line, Photon and Sheiden, that are leading the charge here for Dignitas. Of course, the Varus damage over the top here with the arrows is always strong. Very nice as well. Tomo did have to use his flash in the last play, but it was well worth it.
Oh, yeah. He ends up keeping himself alive. He kills off Darkwings, too, and I feel like the last 2 or 3 fights in a row, we just have not seen really a whole lot out of Darkwings Aurora, and I think if Disguise wants a chance to win a fight, it's him in particular that's got to step up and have more effect and be able to play his role to a greater degree. As Dignitas are going to start the Baron. Immediately the blast cone is popped. Baron down to about 60% HP, and Dig wants to turn and go for a fight now. eXyu here on the front line, soaking some damage for now. Keeper's Verdict onto Photon, knocks him away. Now Darkwing's jumping in, but Rahel's been left all alone again. Nobody can protect him, and now the AD carry for Disguise is once again 6 feet deep, pushing up daisies. Everybody else on the team has to try to get away from this, because Photon and Sheiden are continuing their march forward. Over the wall goes the Aatrox. World Ender's ready. Kaine's swooping around from the side. Castle gets locked up there in a rune prison. Now he's trying to turn it right back around onto the Ryze, and he does a hell of a lot of damage, but he's still all alone. Dignitas will not find any additional kills. Their health bars are also pretty compromised.
There's also a dragon coming up in 25 seconds. That's a dragon soul.
Oh, no, Tomo! Castle just found him! That was huge! Castle solos out Tomo, and now the rest of DSG is ready to follow in! The shutdown onto Photon! Dignitas at the Baron pit with the throw as Castle punishes!
Castle is having such an incredible game. He delayed Dignitas' chase by getting 2 people to chase him backwards, and then on the reapproach, just solo kills Tomo.
Castle is smurfing it, man. Beautifully played from him all the way through the retreat into the counterattack. Watch this here again.
They have a control ward behind the red buff.
See it.
And so he sees Photon leave Tomo, and Tomo's just auto-attacking, so he's like, hell yeah!
Everyone else on
free.
Dig was resetting. That's why you've got to all recall at the same time. Synchronize your backs, otherwise you lose the game.
And then look at the reaction, because then Huhi also just flashes in for the wall charge. What am I watching? And there's your Infernal Soul.
So that control ward, not to take any credit away from Castle, just won them the game.
Yes.
I mean, Castle just won them the game, but also that control
Control
ward.
were good, and just the fact that everyone else on Dig decided to recall it red, and Tomo said, I better go check to see if there's a control ward in this bush, was a mistake. Or an Ambessa in the bush. Did find the Ambessa.
That was crazy, though, because, yeah, the escape in itself from Castle was impressive. You know, Ambessa, and he used the dashes away really nicely while doing a bunch of damage. But then you can never like be relaxed in that moment. And they thought they had fully chased DSG all the way back to the base, but Castle still looking for the opportunity. And a lot of times when that opportunity presents itself, like, you really have to have the confidence to just go in there anyways and just full send at the AD carry that is attacking this ward. I don't believe they had perfect vision on the rest of the team.
No.
And so he was just like, yeah, they're probably like too far away to collapse. They're probably, you know, recalling or something like they actually were. And so he jumped on this moment that presented itself, and that moment might turn itself into the entire game.
Disguise pushing towards the tier 2 down here in the bottom lane. Should be able to just brute force this one down. They'll take that, move back up to a 2,000 gold lead alongside the extra little bonuses from all the dragons and the flowers. The Infernal Soul itself also contributing a lot of extra damage now. Photon positioned in a way where he could try to defend mid if possible or move down to the bottom lane to help the rest of the team. Castle's just going to keep putting the pressure onto the tier 2 over here while everybody else on Disguised is waiting for that next wave to start trying to break into the base in bot lane.
And keep in mind, this is an elimination game. If DSG wins this one, Dignitas could be eliminated from the year unless they win 3 games in a row. So it's important to make this defense right now.
Keine immediately has to pop his Zonias, though. The follow-up is there. Glacial Prison hits him, but the rest of the team body blocking. Huge shot from Rahel with Keine out of the picture. Disguise have an amazing opportunity to end the game right here. 5 men strong in the enemy base. First inhibitor's already down. The second one is about to die over here in mid. Rahel has been left on his own yet again, but he is still alive at this point. All 3 inhibitors wiped off of Summoner's Rift. Dignitas scrambling to try to hold on here in the second game. Darkwings gets caught a little bit there by some of the Aatrox damage. Photon wants to go in and finish him off, but the Nexus turrets are about to die first. Dignitas still 4 alive, but not for long. Photon's going to be the first to fall. Dignitas forced back into the fountain. Disguised. Rahel's going to be the only one to die in the fight, but Disguised will come back and take the dub. They're moving to match point.
Holy.
That sums it up, Kobe. Unbelievable. The Rahel Tomo Experience Lounge. How do they feel?
Bear and throw! Bear and throw! Bear and throw! Yeah!